and welcome to another Thoughts and Opinions video. After my last video discussing the return of Ryan Haywood to Twitch, I have since started to grow fond of the idea of doing these every once in a while, just giving my general thoughts and opinions on things both big and small or even relevant to the channel. With the topic of former Achievement Hunter and Rooster Teeth star Ryan Haywood, I knew the video would, in proportion to my channel, blow up. And while the topic of today might not be all that interesting, it might hopefully be of some use for anyone wanting to join the retail game. So for today, we're going to be going just over my thoughts and opinions on what it's like to work for Walmart. But before we do though, while looking at the analytics, 99.8% of the watch time on the channel is from people who are not subscribed to the channel. So if you like this video or find it informative, then maybe consider giving that like button a click, and also consider subscribing to the channel and tapping that little bell icon to be notified whenever I upload another video. But now, on to the main topic. In all honesty, what I think of Walmart is just like the series title said. It's my opinion. I don't want people thinking what I say here is going to be anything factual or absolute, as different stores are bound to be different entirely. It's all based on management and the employees that work there, so just to hammer it home guys, just take what I say here with a grain of salt, or take a pile if you want. With that out of the way, what do I think of Walmart? There's a lot to say about Walmart and how the company operates, but today I figured I would try to mix things up a little bit. I'm going to answer things based on a poll I asked a long while ago and give you a direct answer. I want you to be able to understand exactly what it's like to work for Walmart, or at the very least understand it from a front-end associate's point of view, before actually diving into a rant that may or may not make sense to you later. Money makes the world go round, as the saying goes, so naturally we will start here. For starters, Walmart is a bi-weekly paycheck, so essentially speaking, you get paid every 14 days, and it's always on a Thursday. Some exceptions apply to that, but that's just the general rule of thumb. Now, depending on what state you live in, the minimum wage will differ. If you are in a brain-dead liberal state, say like California or Washington, you might have a $15 an hour minimum wage law, which of course would mean you're making $15 an hour for however many hours you're working. That's not hard to understand, I'm sure, but for me, the minimum is slowly increasing, about $10 an hour now, and is due to go up to about $12.95 an hour by 2023, if I recall correctly. I can't really remember. Despite this, Walmart's starting wage, if applicable, is $11 an hour minimum, and depending on the department, it can be upwards of $15 an hour if you're in, say, deli or automotive. So pay-wise, Walmart is actually pretty good. My first job was only $9 an hour, and we had people who worked there for 20 or so years making the same. And what makes Walmart better is that every year we get a 10% pay increase, and currently I'm now making $12.44 an hour. Overall, I'm very happy with this, and I'm actually dreading another pay increase due to the infringing laws such as forced increased minimum wage. Yeah, take a shot for every time I say minimum wage. Take another shot. So pay-wise, Walmart is pretty good. Decent pay with annual pay increases, and no, women are not paid less than men. The idea of a wage gap is just ridiculous, and it depends on very omitting evidence that takes very selective evidence over all-around facts. So before anyone says it, no, Walmart is in fact an equal pay company and does not pay men more for the same exact job. That's just stupid. With that stupidity out of the way, how about bonuses? How do those look, I bet you're not asking? Well, with Walmart, we get our bonuses every quarter, so every 3 months. However, they do take an extra month to process, but that doesn't matter. Walmart's new fiscal year starts in February, and we normally get our quarterly bonuses in March. But that doesn't tell you how well they look. And honestly, it's not always so great. You see, our bonuses are determined by our CFF score, which stands for clean, fast, and friendly. And as the name states, it's based on how clean our store is overall, how fast the services we provide are, and how friendly the staff is. All of these are determined based on the survey most cashiers will ask you about, which if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you can find them right here on the back of your receipt. Here's a template that I have made for personal use to hand out. Instead of asking people to look at the back of the receipts for their survey link, I just hand them this. Using a bit of mind play here, I used blue as it symbolizes a link, and to most people it encourages you to at least notice it, plus the color also helps it stand out. I've had really good luck with this method. Even my store manager from my first store was very impressed and said he loved the idea. It was a very proud moment for me actually. Anyways, based on the combination of all three, we can reach our goals, which most stores will keep them at about 96%, and some will even aim for 99%. And if we surpass that, we can boost our bonus and make it even larger. Additionally, we have a point system as well for people who miss work or take key dates off, and by getting too many points, you get terminated. These points also affect your bonus, and by having no points, you actually get an additional 25% added to your bonus. So say if it's $100, you get $125, which is actually quite nice, especially for people like me who almost never miss work and is almost always available and even willing to work on holidays. But still, this doesn't tell you how large the bonuses can be, so then what is it? Why am I refusing to say it? Well, it's hard to say because it fluctuates a lot, but the highest bonus that I have seen personally was $500 or so, and that was my store being first in the market and first in district. So it's hard to say what yours could be. It could be anywhere from 100 to even 300 or even around 500. It just depends on your store's performance. So yeah, it's not all that impressive, but it's not bad either. And I get that there are a lot of jobs that offer better, but for what it is, I'm pretty satisfied with these bonus rates and amount. On top of that, we also do get 10% off most general merchandise with the exception of clearance items. We get that same 10% on rollback items, and we are allowed to use our discounts for immediate family members like mothers, fathers, or siblings like brothers, sisters, and our spouses are also allowed to have their own personal discount card as well for their own personal use. However, this does not extend to their family members. And if we work the Thanksgiving weekend, we do get a one-time use 15% discount to apply on top of our original 10% around December time, making it 25%. By the way, that can be applied to just about anything: food, electronics, sporting goods, automotive supplies, though some restrictions do come attached, of course. For example, we do not at any point get a discount on anything tobacco, alcohol, or firearm related, save for like scopes or bore cleaner or scent cover. And that alone covers the financial side of working for Walmart. We still need to talk about time off, scheduling, and management. So let's tackle the next one, time off. How does this work? Well, for Walmart, we have terms for this. We call it PTO, or personal time off, and PPTO, or protected personal time off. The latter is used for emergencies really, and shouldn't really be used unless you absolutely have to take it. Say if you get in a car accident or have to take your child to the doctor. These are appropriate times to use PPTO, which you can only accrue about 45 hours a year. PTO, as it stands for, is your own personal time off for vacations, family obligations, sick leave, all that fun stuff. This has no cap limit, and you can earn as much PTO as you like with, again, no cap. It's worth noting to take a Saturday off, you have to use double the time, so say you're scheduled 8 hours, you must apply for 16 hours off to take that day off. Same with holidays, or as we call them, key dates. At the end of every year, and this is still kind of unknown for me, Walmart takes you down to about 80 hours worth of PTO left. So say you have 160 hours of PTO that you carried over, they'll take you down to 80 and you get paid and a bonus what they took away on top of your paycheck. It's nice, but in my opinion, I'd rather be allowed to keep it in case I actually do need to use it. However, if you just don't ever use your PTO like I do, you can just save it up and bring it back up again carried over. And the longer you're with Walmart, the faster you accrue PTO. A coworker of mine has been with Walmart for almost 20 years now and makes so much PTO it's ridiculous. She basically gets a full day off every 2 weeks worth of work. It's insane. There isn't a lot to dive into on this subject considering there's actually not a lot you can do with it. Just don't abuse it and you're fine. I will add though that when you do file for a day off using PTO, if it's safe for vacation, like you want to go to the Grand Canyon or anything like that, or even a family obligation like a wedding, do try to request it in advance. 2 weeks is not enough, and even 3 could be calling it short. Typically, it is requested a month advance notice for any PTO requests. This is because when doing schedules, you can see your time up to 2 weeks in advance. So say it's April 1st, you can see all the way to April 14th. This is why it's so critical to give a lot of notice. Not only does it help your team leads, or the people lead for that matter, but it helps your coach out so much who is responsible for making the schedule in the first place. So now speaking of it, scheduling. How good is that? Well, pretty good in my mind. I've been full-time for nearly 4 years now and have very rarely been below 35 hours a week. And the reason for this is the allowance to stay over and get in extra time or even take shorter lunches, about a half hour at the very least. Granted, not all stores will allow this or even uphold this kind of dedication to an associate, but I like to think that I got lucky twice. My first store was very lax on the rules, and my new store, while strict, does try its best to keep us happy, and I think this is a great way of keeping things going smoothly. But back to scheduling. If you have school or other jobs, Walmart does work with you on all of that to ensure that you're taken care of. Heck, we even have programs where you pay $1 a day and simply attend school, and Walmart takes care of the rest. Honestly, when it comes to how many hours you get, this is actually all based on you. If you have open availability, meaning you're available at any point during the day, you become a favorite to managers as you can fill in so many blank spaces and thus are likely to have higher hours than some guy named Buck, who can only work 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day but requests to have Sunday and Wednesdays off. Honestly, open availability is a key component to good hours, and if you're part-time or full-time, this will absolutely help keep those hours up. And like said before, since September of 2020 to April of 2021, I have been a full 40 hours every week up until mid-April, where I finally got 39 hours for a single week. So yeah, it's pretty clear how this one little thing does help. Now, it's not always that way. Some stores might not have such a mighty need for open availability, but even if that's the case, your open availability does give you an edge that they will use when needed, even if they don't openly tell you that. And lastly, we have management. Ooh, boy, I really don't want to talk about this one. Not because I'm afraid of any repercussions or anything. Oh no, far from that. It's mainly because I've had both great and bad experience history with managers. We have never had any tensions, mind you, but it's more of a story I'll save for later if you actually want to hear anything about that. But it's not really relevant to today's video. Okay, so the structure of a store is usually a store manager, an assistant store manager, typically 1 or 2 co's, but there can be more, your team coaches who are essentially department managers, team leads, and then regular associates. The list does seem short, yes, but consider that there are many different departments to take up. There's front end, home lines, lawn and garden, sporting goods, automotive, deli, produce, online grocery, AP, asset protection, and the list just goes on and on and on. And in my nearing 4 years of experience, I've seen managers come and go. And I gotta say, I have mixed feelings only because I've seen just about every angle of the spectrum there is. And this is where I want you to take a grain or two of salt, because this is where what I say is not factual or at all representative of all stores. The stores near you can have the greatest managers ever possible, or they could even have the worst. This is entirely up to the managers themselves, and I cannot attest to this with any guarantee. If anything, all I can say is just respect your manager, even if you disagree with them, because the worst thing to do is pit yourself against an authority figure who does have say over you. If you disagree, do find a polite and peaceful solution if possible, but if not, do try to get a higher member of management to at least hear you out. If all else fails, you can call the Walmart Ethics Center to try and see what they can do, but please do note that this is not a tool to be used to settle a dispute out of spite. This is only in case you feel like your manager is starting to abuse you. In my honest opinion, and this isn't in regard to the video, I've seen a lot of videos telling people not to put in extra effort and try not so hard in their work because they say things like your managers will take advantage of your kindness and will make you grow to hate your job. Don't listen to that. Most of them have either never had a job or were so lackluster in their performance that they're trying to skirt the blame. Take this advice if any. Always give 100% and show up every day. Make the best of each shift and try to have fun with it at the very least. If you start to feel stressed out, take a vacation if you can and just come back again ready to go. If your managers ask you to do something, you should be jumping at that opportunity with gusto and verve. Don't let chances pass you up just because you don't want to feel like you're being taken advantage of. In order to get anywhere, you must prove you can handle the tasks that they're going to entrust you with. By choosing to opt out of everything and to refuse to do more, you're going to be ignored. You're not going to be trusted with anything special, and when promotion time comes around, you're not going to stand out and you'll never be a thought. To be a do-nothing, bare minimum performer is to be treated like a do-nothing, bare minimum performer. And that's why I'm taking time out of this video just to say, always be willing to do more. I can personally vouch for the chances this has given me. If not for my willingness to do better, to do more, I would not have been able to transfer to my new store. I would not have been able to take a swing at being a manager, and I would not be working at the service desk at my new store like I am now if it wasn't for my push to expand my skills. So again, I urge anyone listening to this to never listen to people who tell you to underperform. Those people are fools. They have no idea the damage that they can and probably have caused by giving such poor, idiotic advice. Yes, you could be taken advantage of for it. I'm not gonna lie, that is 100% possible. But it is always better to be a devoted and willing associate than to be an ignoble, third-rate, nugatory schlepper. I apologize for that last bit there. Let's go ahead and take a second to recuperate from that. I was definitely not planning on dragging that last bit out, but I felt like it was something worth mentioning. Let's go ahead and move on to the next segment. When it comes to working at Walmart, there is a dynamic to each workstation. And if you're in deli, you have the fryers, the meat and the cheese cutters, the display cases, the rotisserie chicken oven, or whatever the heck it is you call it. Or if you're at the front end like me, you have our various registers, the drink coolers, the candy shelves, all of which are vital to know. We will go with what I am most experienced with for today, as I have little knowledge on how other departments are operated, and I would hate to make any assumption. If you are a Walmart employee and work a different department, do feel free to share your work environment below. I would personally love to hear your stories and what you have to say about working for Walmart. Anyways, with the front end, I am trained to do several things. Cashier for one, work self-checks, and work the service desk where we handle returns and do financial services such as money transfers, check cashing, bill payments, and more. But let's start off at the basics first. A regular register. Well, how do they work? Well, I'm not going to get into the very nitty-gritty as I'm sure this would be a fireable offense. But in the basic sense, if you have the newer model, you have the screen which is, yes, touchscreen, and it has a lot of functions. More than the Apple phones do actually. Joking aside, we have many features we can use such as looking up department numbers, looking up produce codes, starting a tax-exempt transaction, making gift receipts for specific items, doing layaway transactions, loading gift cards, and on and on and on. I'm pretty sure you get the picture, right? We have a lot that we can do, and it takes time and a lot of training to be able to learn all of it. There are people that have been here over a year and are still learning some of the function. Take an ordinary person and put them in our position and they would struggle to do a single transaction without making 49 mistakes. A lot of people take our jobs for granted, but in actuality, we do have to know quite a bit in order to perform our jobs, such as knowing a PLU code for produce off the top of our heads, or how to put money on a card like Chime or Bluebird. Sometimes we have to do WIC, or more common now, the chipped cards for WIC. And if a barcode is not wanting to scan on the register, it is our job to know how to make it work before defaulting to a manager for help. As simple as it may seem, it's actually not all that easy. And if you have any friends that are cashiers, go ahead and play a little game with them by asking them the codes to some produce like bananas, oranges, limes, lemons, slicer tomatoes, or Roma tomatoes if you like, which would be 4011 for one, 3107 for the other, 4048 for another, 4053 for another, 3151 for another, and 4087 respectively. Heck, even ask them what the difference between a normal code and an organic code is, and more than likely they'll tell you it's the number 9, which will make sense once they actually explain it to you. And if you don't believe me, next time you're at the store, look at the little 4-digit PLUs on those little stickers and you'll see it. All organic codes have the number 9 at the front of the PLU. But back to registers though. It is our job also to keep them cleaned up and stocked with bags. Stores may vary from location to location, and you might even notice different behavior from the cashiers with each new location, but our typical routine is all the same, just performed in different ways. When we leave our registers, we lock away our alpha keys, which is that little black thing that we use to unlock security devices. We take away our trash, and we take away our returns, that are the things that people really don't want. And if need be, we stock our bags before leaving. It just depends on the store and the policy they follow and if they're strict about it. But what about the self-checkouts? What are those like? Well, dumb, I can assure you. That's why idiots like me are actually trusted to keep them running. If I had $1 for every time I wanted to punch the self-checks, I would have roughly whatever the current Mega Millions lottery is. To be frank, they are very dumb and they do require us to be there to keep things running. There's paper jams, bill jams, coin jams, invalid weight on the scale, scanning error on the overhead camera, point of sale desync, scale not working properly, price discrepancy, coupon failures, and it just keeps going. That doesn't even include theft, which yes, we do notice when people steal. Our choice is based on what management wants rather than a desire to let you leave. Honestly, people, we are trained to watch you like hawks and we do so with great intent. If it wasn't for the policy or a manager telling us not to stop you, we would make your life suck for as long as you were stupid enough to stay there. And on a note, other than people blatantly stealing, people who use coupons. We know more about coupons than people like to think. If we say no, that's because we are better informed and very well trained on what to do. Demanding a manager doesn't help because we will inform them to, more or less, decline the coupon before they even get to you, because again, we just know better. Just to clarify for you all what I mean, no coupon is ever greater than the value of the item and is a legit coupon. Now they can be, but that's why we don't allow that. Say you have some makeup for $5 and a coupon for $6. And you try to use that at a register or self-checkout. The answer should always be no, mainly because no coupon should be worth more than the value of the items unless it says free on it, which is normally a BOGO or buy one get one coupon or a special manufacturer coupon. But to set the record straight, most times we reject coupons is based on the fact that coupons cannot be of higher value than the item they are intended for. Okay, but back to self-checks. The advantage of self-checks is that you get to do very little physical work depending on what you call physical, like standing and staring at people. Otherwise, you mostly just clean the faces of the self-checks or even the belts of the self-checks, you stock up the bags, and when need be, help customers who need help or stopping theft attempts. When I train new self-checkout hosts, I always tell them this one thing. You have two roles that you must always balance: customer service and asset protection. You must always treat every customer as if they are your friend, while at the same time knowing each one of your friends could be trying to steal from you right now. It's a tough act, sure, and balancing it is hard to do, but after about a month or so, you typically land into a rhythm that you can work with and still follow both rules out. Lastly, we have the service desk. It's hard to explain the service desk as the rules for how we operate changes more often than the Masked Singer, and while I will not go into the nitty-gritty on this one again, the core idea of the service desk is to help customers with their financial needs, such as sending or receiving money, cashing checks, and knowing what checks are cashable, handling bill payments such as Verizon, electric, gas, automotive, and even JPay, which is essentially you just sending money to a correctional facility, which is done actually a very special way. You can also do direct to cash, which is usually for Walmart associates, as well as doing PayPal add cash, withdrawal cash, and we can even do money orders and registry printing. All are services that you must be trained to know how to do, how to properly identify and perform, and how to detect possible fraud. It may seem boring, and trust me it is, but a lot does go into it and we are always watching out for our customers. Lastly, at Service Desk, we handle returns. I really hope I don't have to explain how this works. For returns, we are trained and tasked with taking items back, possibly, not always, but possibly, that a customer might not want or can no longer use. There are a lot of restrictions to how this works, and we do get a lot of flack for it because, again, the rules change so often that by the time the customers get used to the last rules, you're already switching again. For example, if a credit card or a debit card is used for a payment, we have to return the money back to that card, or return it to a Walmart card if you don't want that. This is not up for debate. This is what the corporate office wants. However, some stores abuse this by allowing cash back for debit cards despite the aforementioned corporate policy. If a check is used, we must pay back with cash or, again, a gift card. Gift card is the only exception that we can really do. If you pay with a debit card, we can give you a gift card. If you pay with cash, we can give you a gift card. If you pay with a gift card, actually, you have to get it back in a gift card. If you pay with check, we can give you a gift card. Any way you pay, we can always give you a gift card. That is the only thing that is constant with doing a return. But okay, now I'm monologuing. Let's get back to the actual topic. And if no receipt is brought up and we have to do it without that, we can normally give a gift card back as a refund method unless it's below a specific amount, which I will not actually disclose here. We also have to know how to check serial numbers of items, UPCs, products and their packages, and even online returns now. Our responsibilities are always changing, and I would say that when working the front end at Walmart, you have to be ready for fast changes and be willing to expand your horizons and even work areas you might not even like. Funny enough, our training for Service Desk is so cringy also. The videos and tests we have to do has voiceovers, and while I'll say it right now, I'm terrible at doing voiceovers, like seriously. Like right now, doing the recording for this, I'm already at 40 minutes of recording because I'm screwing up that much. But this takes the cake. This is absolutely many times worse. At the end of the video, I'll give an example as to what I mean. All I can say is, you have been warned. All of this, and we haven't even gotten to coworkers yet. And like the manager segment, this is based on who you work with rather than anything, I can promise you. But again, just treat your coworkers right. Have a little bit of fun with them if they have a sense of humor, and you can make a workday a bit better by having people at work that you can feel comfortable with. Almost like a second, or in some cases, third or fourth family. This is something I will tell anyone simply because it's always good to treat people right, no matter what, and people you work with are no exception. Treat them right, and they will treat you right also. I plead the fifth, Your Honor. Alright. This segment will be slightly shorter than the previous one, but only because I'm going to try to avoid stories. As mentioned, there are several that we will need to be able to assist to the best of our ability, such as blind, deaf, foreign speakers, picky, elderly, cranky, demanding, pushy, rude, and of course, no thrills. And the happy-go-lucky customers, of course. There are a lot, and you will have to deal with a lot of different ones, but from my experience, I tend to get anywhere from the happy to no-thrill customers, and very rarely ones in a bad mood. As for proper care of these customers, it's all based on who you're dealing with, but thankfully we do have somewhat of a standard. Always be nice, always be courteous, and always thank them even if you don't necessarily mean it. Now that might sound like bad advice, and it is, but that's what we're told to do. Honestly, I subscribe to the if you don't mean it, don't say it policy, as I hate being dishonest with my customers. Essentially, treat them right, don't try to do wrong by them is our main goal, and if you're a cashier, don't try to overfill their bags, and definitely don't try to put one item in a bag over and over and over and over again unless it can't be helped. Try to show consideration and passion to the job, and you will be amazed at how customers will react to such positivity. And lastly, we're in the final stretch of the video. Good God, look at that runtime. Alright, now at the time of writing this part, I do have some rather unpleasant things to talk about. As most people know, yes, Walmart is pushing to use more self-checkouts and less registers moving forward. This is a topic many people have been going nuts over, and I don't entirely blame them. I mean, in the eyes of our customers, our jobs are being taken away and we're being tossed out of our careers and livelihood. Of course, I'm here to tell you differently that it's not actually all that bad, and before you throw your cans of soup at me like a Black Lives Matter member to an innocent store, let me explain. Firstly, cashiers are not being fired or let go because of self-checks. Yes, those opportunities are being taken away, but cashiers are not being fired en masse because of them. That is a myth that's being perpetuated by the Karens and Marks, I think they're called Marks, of the social media world. Now, maybe some stores have fired or let go some of the cashiers, but in those cases, I would urge people to look into it a bit harder. Most stores that I have seen and heard from have offered jobs to those that are being affected by the self-checkouts and have tried to allow them to move over to either deli or automotive or other departments. If they deny all those opportunities, then yes, they do get terminated, but offers are made in order to retain associates. So if someone tells you cashiers are being fired because of them, the simple truth is, no, we're not. At least not that I have personally seen. If you are a cashier for Walmart and have gotten fired because of the self-checkouts, then do please share your story down below. We would love to hear what you have to say as always. Moving on though, while yes, the push is being made, the source is quite easy to point out. It's the threat of paying everyone $15 an hour minimum wage. That is why we're making this move, because more and more states are making this stupid law happen and more stores are doing this, and smaller and more honest companies are being shut down. Here's the thing people need to hear. Making every single job in the world $15 an hour will never help anyone. It only hurts us. Making every job in the world $100 would never help us either. What we need to change is the cost of living. If it costs more than $5 for a loaf of bread, it's not the minimum wage that's too low, it's the cost of living is too high. Not only that, but not every job can afford to do this, meaning prices will go up and employees will be let go and bigger companies will move to automation. So if your county or state brings up the bill for $15 an hour, do your part and vote it down. Save hundreds if not thousands of jobs by stopping this looming threat. But okay, pretty speech and all, but why did I say that I had unpleasant things to talk about? Well, recently it has been brought to my attention that people all over are going into Walmarts and filling their carts full of cold perishable items. Say for example, eggs, bacon, high dollar meats, frozen foods of also high value price, and they're just leaving them in areas in the store where most associates might not even travel, or putting them in areas that they might not ever be seen. So far, tens of thousands of dollars have been estimated to have been ruined, maybe upwards of $150,000 worth at the time of uploading this, amazingly, and they are doing this in protest of the new upgrades and choices of the Walmart executives. Let me be 100,000% honest here. What these people are doing is absolutely illegal. If Walmart wanted to, they could sue for damages done and for loss of profit, and if this keeps happening, I can assure you they will. Do not do what these idiots are doing. No point is being made other than people are willing to break the law in order to try to stick it to the man because they disagree with a choice that was made by people looking at a statistical chart. If you want to make a point, if you really want to send a message, do it in a legal way. Stop shopping at Walmart. It's that simple. It is so very simple. If you disagree with what's happening, make a post online asking people to do the same. Tag Walmart in it also so that way they'll see it, and the more people who do this will send a much harsher message than just destroying perfectly fine food. Let me also say that what these people are doing is just childish and immature, and I do hope every single one of them that does this does go to jail. The reason this is known is because the fools are posting their actions on Facebook and other sites, which does show intent, and they are asking others to do the same. Just consider before you do it that yes, this action is very illegal, and they could very well face charges. Do not do what they are doing. And if you ever were or are an employee of Walmart, you know why this is something I must stress to everybody. It's not funny, it is not mature, it's stupid and it's vitriolic, and it does more to hurt the associates than it ever could do to help. After all that, I think it's time to maybe wrap this all up. All of that, and I have never fully given my opinion on working for Walmart. And honestly, I was trying for about a week now to cobble up some borderline neutral summary where I say something like, it's not great, but it's not bad. But then I looked up quotes trying to get a feel for what I wanted to say, and I found one that oddly hit well with me. Why should we cherish objectivity? As if ideas were innocent, as if they don't serve one interest or another. Surely, we want to be objective if that means telling the truth as we see it, not concealing information that may be embarrassing to our point of view. But we don't want to be objective if that means pretending that the ideas don't play a part in the social struggles of our time, that we don't take sides in those struggles. Indeed, it is impossible to be neutral in a world already moving in certain directions, where wealth and power are already distributed in certain ways. Neutrality means accepting the way things are now. It is a world of clashing interests, war against peace, nationalism against internationalism, equality against greed, and democracy against elitism. And it seems to me both impossible and undesirable to be neutral in those conflicts. As said by Howard Zinn, The Declarations of Independence, Cross-Examining American Ideology. And what I'm taking from this, and you may be taking something different, but for me, I see this as being entirely dependent on you. If you work there and you want to have a bad day, you will have a bad day. On the flip side, if you wanted to have a good day, you will have a good day. To try to describe Walmart in a neutral fashion is impossible, as there will always be some form of objectivity to it. Ideas and thoughts that will serve to shape our opinions, never truly able to be neutral. And this is what I take away from that. And I hope that it helps you understand a bit better also. A job at Walmart, just like any other, is what you make of it. So by showing up, working hard, putting in your best time and time again, even if some days feel worse than others, you can always find a reason to enjoy what it is that you do. And for me, I can't possibly think of doing anything else other than helping my customers and enjoying every moment of it. And I think that will wrap up this monstrosity of a video quite nicely. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have any stories of your own that you would like to share, do post them down below in the comment section. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next one.